Hey everyone, it's been some time since our last catch up. I'm now 4 months post-op from my Achilles tendon surgery, which took place on May 12th. After the procedure, my leg was put in a cast, then I had that removed 2 weeks later for stitch removal, and I was placed in a hard cast for another 4 weeks. Finally, I moved on to wearing a boot you can take on and off for 6 weeks. The rehab after an Achilles tendon rupture typically insists on keeping the foot pointed. So the two popular walking boots used for this purpose are the Aircast boot and the Vacoped boot. I ended up buying both, one for indoor use and one for outdoor activities. For the first 3 weeks, I wore the Aircast outdoors and the Vacoped indoors, then swapped them where I wore the Aircast indoors and the Vacoped outdoors for the last 3 weeks. The most important difference between Aircast and Vacoped boots boil down to wedges versus adjustable angles. In Aircast, I would place the wedges inside of the boot, and I started with 4 wedges, not 3. I couldn't find the last one for the video. I couldn't find it. Each week, I remove a wedge until my foot was flat. The Aircast is stiff, doesn't let you move your ankle, and hold your lower leg in one place. Vacoped, on the other hand, is all about adjusting the angle. You start at 30 degrees and lower it by 10 each week. Once you hit 0, you swap to a flat sole. Instead of going to 0 from 10, I eased into it, going from 10 to 5 degrees first because 0 felt like too big of a jump for me and I felt too much of a stretch. The Vacoped, unlike Aircast, lets your ankle move, so walking feels more natural. Although, as you can see in the picture, Vacoped looks like it points your toes more and there is a slight bend in the foot using Aircast, but there is no hard evidence or studies are saying which is better for healing. Comfort-wise, I prefer Aircast. It's lighter and feels more snug. The Vacoped has an air valve that can dig into your leg in the middle, especially when you're using a knee scooter, which is a big downside. Also, Vacoped is a bit heavier and longer, so it feels more bulky. I also had to sleep with the boot on for at least 5 weeks, and I thought sleeping with Aircast was a bit easier. I think both are very secure and do a fantastic job protecting your leg. For Aircast, you can twist the dial on the side of the boot to the number that corresponds to the cell you want to pump. And for Vacoped, you can pump in the air to the sleeve using the air pump and the belt. Lastly, Vacoped is around $300 while Aircast is $90. I think sometimes you can get it cheaper. The Amazon price seems to fluctuate for me. So the Vacoped is more expensive option and Aircast is still expensive but less than Vacoped. So in short, both are very secure and do provide amazing support, but Aircast is more rigid, affordable, and comfortable, while Vacoped gives you more flexibility, more expensive, and can place the foot in a better pointed position. It logically feels like optimal for healing, but do not have studies backing that up. Personally, I would choose Vacoped over Aircast, and here's why. Firstly, I found that Aircast did allow for a more natural walking pattern, which could potentially make the transition back to walking without the boot easier. What really stood out for me was Vacoped's thick sole, which not only provided excellent support but also helped my walking movements. In terms of comfort and foot positioning, I personally preferred having my toe pointed in the Vacoped boot as it felt more natural compared to using wedges in Aircast where my foot felt folded in the middle. For a work-related trip, I had to average around 10,000 steps per day by week 6 of wearing the boot. Even with this much walking, obviously I had a chance to rest a lot in between. Vacoped held up really well for me. Finally, seeing Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant wearing these boots added an extra layer of confidence in my choice. While this might be a part of a marketing strategy, but seeing world-class athletes with unlimited resources opting for Vacoped made me feel more secure in my decision. As you can see, these observations are purely anecdotal and based on my personal experience. Plus, there are no scientific studies stating which one is better than the other. I did love using Aircast as well. I worked out in it, I walked on it, and felt very secure and comfortable. However, since I get to choose between the two, I'm just opting for one. A few more heads up if you're leaning towards Vacoped. First off, be super careful with sizing. I had to return mine once because it didn't fit, and let me tell you, the return cost was crazy. So it's a good idea to ring up their customer service and get all the help you can before hitting that order button. Next, no matter which boot you go with, even up is a no-brainer. Trust me, it's not up for debate. You don't want one leg higher than the other. It will mess up your stride and your back. Also, check with your doctor or Vacoped customer support to make sure you're using the boot right. My path involves surgery, but if you're going through the non-surgical route, the guidelines for using the boot will be completely different. Just a heads up, my doc didn't know about Vacoped. It's more of a... Apparently, Vacoped is more famous in Europe, so while folks in the US often stick with Aircast. For me, I kept it simple, dropped the angle by 10 degrees each week, and then 5 degrees for the last 2 weeks. It worked like a charm for me, but that's me. Your doctor might have a different plan that's better for your situation, so please talk to your doctor or any experts. Feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments below. If you're interested in how I'm tackling this injury and what I have been doing to bounce back stronger, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you have a video idea or question you want answered, throw it in the comments. I actually made this video because someone asked for it, so I'm all ears for what you guys want to see next. Thank you all.